Next question, and Mr. Adams, we'll start with you. Local government works at the behest of the state.
Yes.
So what recommendation would you make to Governor Mitch Daniels that would improve government operations in Winona?
Home rule. Home rule. I think that he's very correct that the state, for example, in public schools, they control the amount of money that a local school corporation receives. And so you look at a community school board and you say, well, we can only do so much because we only have so much money. But I can tell you during my time down in the Indiana General Assembly that we always advocated home rule. In other words, you folks have to be involved, and you can get involved. It's not a one-way street, as Representative Wilkins sitting back there will tell you, but we can get involved, and we do. And again, I go back to that home rule. Thank you.
Mrs. Hicks, what recommendation would you make to Governor Daniels that would improve government operations here in Winona?
The IAC Legislative Committee works on this constantly, and I agree again with Mr. Adams. Home rule and unfunded mandates. Those are two things that can cripple a community real quick. If they come down with legislation that they expect us to follow a process that is going to increase our time or increase our financial commitment to accomplish this, it's crippling to a small community. That our tax rate is 55 cents, one of the lowest in the county.
All right, now we'll move to our town council folks, and we'll begin with Mr. Bowl. Local government works at the behest of the state. So what one recommendation would you make to the governor to improve operations here in Winona?
I believe the first thing that must occur is the town council must get in contact with the governor and establish a relationship with Indianapolis. We have that opportunity through the Bio-Crossroads report, Governor Daniels' senior report. He recently listened to one of their Transportation Committee recommendations for this community. It must be, let us represent the people of Winona Lake, let us govern ourselves, and give us the assets we need to further the industry that builds the economy of Winona Lake and Kosciusko County.
Mr. Howard.
I will have to go back with the clerk treasurer and say home rule. There are several pieces of legislation, I believe now downstate, that they're going to say, or they're trying to get through, that you can't even take and do your home inspections for apartments locally that we've done through the state. And I think that we need to get the state out of the local rule and let the local people decide, who are sitting here, who are running the streets out here, driving the streets, walking through the towns, to take and be able to say, this is what we want to do within reason. And you folks downstate, you don't have all the answers. One size does not fit all. And we need to be able to make our own decisions for the betterment of our community.
Mr. Nelson, what recommendation would you make to the governor?
Well, I'd rather take the simple approach, and when Governor Mitch Daniels came up to the Remnant Trust to have an economic development meeting, I think we got the ear of the governor, at least through some of the members in Winona Lake. So I think the easiest way to do it is to look at those problems that are going to be the most severe and affect us as a town the most, and take advantage, not fairly, but take advantage of those people that do and can have the government come up for a meeting. Certainly, he doesn't come to a lot of places, and he was here, and a lot of people saw him. So I think that he knows who we are. I think he knows where we're at. Now it's just a matter of developing the relationships with his lead people and himself.
Mr. Schaffner.
I think with the relationship that has been built with him, I think it is on a good path for Winona Lake. Although it still is going to require the town council to work with the state and again to try to get some of this brought back to the local level. Again, I think that those of us that are sitting on the town council have a much better opportunity of answering some of our own needs and not necessarily coming from the state of Indiana.
Thank you very much. All right, we'll move now to Ward 4 and begin with Mr. Wynn.
Well, in my life, I'm very reflective, and I take into account the experiences I've had in my very short life. And in this short life, I've learned a few things, and I try to apply those few little things that I've learned in my life to decisions that I have to make in my current situation. And if somebody asked me what advice I would give to Mitch Daniels, it would be that the person closest to the operation, and this is something I learned at Intel when I was making computer chips, was the person closest to the manufacturing process will always have the best idea how to improve the process. And that would be my advice to Mitch Daniels, that us here closest to the problem, we're always going to have the best ideas for improving the problem. So listen to the people that are closest to the activity.
Mrs. Gooding.
I have to agree with everybody. I think we've had a lot of great ideas here. I think you're absolutely right, Greg. It is important to get closer to the problem. And so in addition to home rule, I would ask that perhaps the governor try to schedule a little time, and I know it's difficult, but try to schedule a little time to come around and visit our communities, maybe have roundtables in different districts. I mean, obviously we have representation, but I know personally from my business that if you have a problem, I'm a lot more responsive if you tell me to my face than if it goes through 3 or 4 or 10 layers. So I would ask the governor to maybe see if there's a way that he could spend a little bit more time popping in and visiting these communities that have elected him.
Thank you. We'll move now to Ward 1 and begin with Mr. Hood. What would you tell the governor?
Other than gassing up your RV and visiting again, I think it's important to foster and develop the relationships with the people in Indianapolis. We have one that visits Indianapolis quite frequently here, sitting in the room right now. I think it's important to talk with those people, the business leaders. I believe the governor is very much aware of what we're doing also, and the amount of money that we produce as far as taxes and the potential that we have, especially with the 300 or 600 million people hopefully that will retire well soon. So I think it's important to foster and develop those relationships so we understand what they're coming from and what they need to happen so that we can help support them, but also give our community and residents a voice and make sure that nothing is crammed down our throats. Thank you.
Good.
The resources from the state that the state provides to the communities, to the county, are beyond question very important to our livelihood and to our schools and to our communities. With that said, if you're closest to the problem, you're also closest to the solution. And I tell you this, I would take any combination of the 11 people that have been speaking to you tonight and have them make a decision for me rather than have somebody 2 hours drive make it for me.
Thank you. So we had some collaboration with Warsaw related to sewage. So as we think about new collaborative opportunities, what is the next project that currently is not taking place in terms of collaboration? What would be the next collaborative project that you would pursue with Warsaw? Mr. Schaffner.
I would have to say the continuation of the Greenway, to have it continue to develop further in Warsaw as well as in Winona Lake. I think it's a huge asset for this community as well as for Warsaw. And I think that if we can work together in regards to that, I think that really will say a lot for what Kosciusko County in the Warsaw and the Winona Lake area stand for.
Mr. Nelson.
Living on the lake, I think it's important because Warsaw controls half of it. Winona Lake controls about the other half. And I can see a project that would make that much more recreationally friendly. We have a wonderful beach. We rent kayaks, we rent canoes. We have opportunities to make it a much more recreational friendly. We rent boat spots so people can bring their boats in and use the lake for various activities. I think that we could work with Warsaw in developing more things that would give opportunities for people to come out and be able to join in some of the fun that can go on around the lake and have available to them some of the attributes of the lake itself.
Good, thank you. We'll pop over here to Ward 4 and we'll begin with Mrs. Gooding.
Well, we have so many opportunities with Warsaw if we want to. First of all, I mean, obviously the wastewater was huge, and we finally have mended some fences that were terribly broken. From that point now, I feel like we obviously are going to hook our greenway to theirs, but it's more than just attaching pavement and painting lines that match up. I think that there's an entire mindset that we should be Warsaw's fun spot. You know, let's all go to work in Warsaw, let them have those nasty factories with the smoke and whatever, but let's partner with them so that they know that if they want a great place to live, they want a great place to hang out, to go play on the lake, they need to come to Winona Lake. And I think also if we could do something with our transportation, both the recreational outdoor transportation with bike paths and so forth, that actually so people could ride their bicycles and so forth to work, and also with the public transportation so that people can enjoy our businesses who don't always have vehicles at their disposal.
Mr. Wynn.
I'd also agree with Sue in talking about the Greenway. I think actually in talking to the Kosciusko Cycling Club, they said that right now Winona Lake's leading the charge in the Greenway, and so in partnering with Warsaw to enable them to learn from the successes we've had. The other thing is just expanding a little bit and just growing over our border just a little bit. For example, the viaduct and the abandoned factory there on the right-hand side when you leave the viaduct. I've had dreams of how that abandoned factory could be an open-air market, organic grocery store, you know, that type of another kind of more of what we've got in the village, but just let it grow. And I think it would make the village more of a destination spot the bigger we make it. And so I would love to look at improving the viaduct area. And another person knocking on a door said something about, could we create a roundabout with the two viaducts? That would be something we'd obviously have to work with Warsaw on.
Mr. Swans would like to weigh in on this one.
Sure. The folks in Warsaw, they are our friends. We all here from Winona Lake have friends in Warsaw. Mayor Wiggins and the council have proven to be our friends as they've collaborated on the Greenway project and the wastewater treatment agreement that we reached last year. But this is another project I think was alluded to by someone earlier, but this is near and dear to Joy Losey's heart, and that is from time to time we have pollution that enters into Winona Lake from some unknown source, one of those factories that Sue referred to perhaps in the Warsaw area. But some of the overflow water drainage somehow gets into the north side of Winona Lake, and so that's a project definitely to preserve the clarity, the purity of Winona Lake for Warsaw and Winona Lake residents.
Thank you. Back to Ward 1. We'll begin with Mr. Daggett. What's the next collaborative project that you'll work on with Warsaw?
I am currently the executive chair for the Convention Visitors Bureau here for Kosciusko County. So a bit of a broader perspective, not just Winona Lake and Warsaw, but Pierceton and Milford and Syracuse and all our wonderful communities in bringing dollars into our communities from Fort Wayne, Indianapolis, Chicago. There are wonderful opportunities, both natural and man-made, here in Winona Lake and throughout the county to bring tourists in. I think we need to continue to develop those in ways that make sense and bring outside dollars into the community.
I think it's important to maintain our greatest natural resource, the lake, partnering with Warsaw, working with communities and residents to understand the impacts that they put on the lake, whether it's wet grass clippings or leaves in the lake to maintain that, as well as the Greenway. I believe the South Haven Trail, Kalamazoo to South Haven, is a great example of what we could make the Greenway. They have lots of visitors that are camping or visiting and spending lots of money in the restaurants after a 20-mile bike ride, especially with hauling 4 kids on a buggy. You get pretty tired, so you need to buy lots of water. But I think it's important to maintain the lake as, again, we don't have a lot of industry, so travel is our most important asset. Thank you.
All right, we'll move to Ward 2 and begin with Mr. Howie. What's the next collaborative project with Warsaw?
Well, the one collaborative project we have now is the Greenway. This council took and had a study done for a roundabout out there to make it easier for pedestrians and bicyclists to get across. With the study there, it was a huge price. We have it on our radar. Don't know where we'll be going with it there. The other thing was with Councilwoman Loshi, bringing up about the pollution that's entering the lake over there. we need to be talking with Warsaw, because it's not only the factories that's letting pollution come into the lake, it's also coming from about 150 different drains, catch basins over in Warsaw on this end of town. So we need to be talking with Warsaw of what they can do to be helping us to take and clean up our lake and keep it clean.
Mr. Ball.
One of my favorite TV shows of all time was the television show Lost. One of their main themes from that TV show, you live together or you die alone. Council in Winona Lake is not about mending fences with Warsaw. There can be no fences with Warsaw. My recommendation would be to have a quarterly joint town council meeting with the Warsaw New Town Council and the new Winona Lake Town Council beginning in 2012.
Thank you. All right, we'll move to the clerk treasurer. We'll begin with Mrs. Hicks. What's the project out there that you think we need to be collaborating with Warsaw on?
Well, I'm going to take this opportunity to share how active I've been. I co-chaired with Sue Ann Mitchell, past Kosciusko County Auditor, in holding local government meetings to develop the efficiency and cost-sharing programs. We hosted several county clerk treasurer meetings to discuss new legislation for communities, and we developed a community-wide, county-wide purchasing consortium among the clerk treasurers. We tried to get that accomplished with the county, and we just sort of kept hitting roadblocks, but we did accomplish it with the small communities. And I think either that small of an initiative or the larger initiative of just discussion, and I love the idea of having city and town meetings together. That's a wonderful idea.
Mr. Adams.
Thank you. Well, I can't give you anything new that has not been said, but I stand here and I think of 1 + 1 = 2, and that's much better than 1 and 1. And I see, as many of you know, Warsaw, we're all friends, we're all neighbors, we cooperate together, get things accomplished. As stated here, you know, Winona Lake has a great history, great legacy, and I think to outside folks, we're looked at as the place to come and enjoy the natural resource, the lake and so forth. Warsaw is the business anchor, so to speak. And again, when you talk about one project, to me it's just togetherness. I cannot identify any of that particular project at this time. Thank you.
So here it is, last question. What will be your legacy project when you leave public office in Winona Lake? What will be the thing you're known for?
Well, I think that, again, background experience, I think I've been there and I've done that. Every place I've been, I've left it better than when it was when I came there. And that, of course, is through help of a lot of different people. One legacy, just that, you know, it's interest, integrity, and experience. And I'll do the best job I can. I don't know all the answers, but I can guarantee you, if you have a question and need an answer, I will find it for you. But again, I would tell you strictly my personal integrity and everything that I've been exposed to in my young life.
Mrs. Hicks, what will your legacy project be? What will you be known for when you leave public office?
I think, again, it's my level of commitment and my willingness to work as a team. We have an excellent staff on board now and supervisors, and we really respect each other, and I think that is, I think I would like to foster that and keep that going. Thank you.
Wonderful. All right, we'll go to the town council folks now. Start with Ward 4, and then hop to Ward 1, all right? And we will begin with Mr. Wynn. What will be the legacy project? What will you be known for when you leave public office in Winona?
Well, the thing that I want to accomplish the most, as I've said many times, you might be seeing a pattern, is the bicycle-friendly and the pedestrian-friendly communities. I believe strongly in that improves communities, that builds stronger communities. So that's the thing that I want to leave behind. Though the thing I think I'd like to be remembered for is effectively making decisions and just, I'm very passionate about improvement. I have a degree in process improvement, so obviously I went into things that I'm passionate about. And when I leave, I want people to say, that Greg quickly made decisions, and not only did he quickly make decisions, he improved the town, and he equipped the people that were working for him to make things effectively. And I also would like to be remembered as somebody that was always honest, and I always want to be as transparent as possible. I think sometimes I have a problem with speaking too much, and I don't think that's a problem.
Mrs. Gooding, what's your legacy project?
I think my legacy will be, when I leave, I want people to say she listened. She listened, she heard us, and she made it happen. Because I'm kind of a list maker, and I like to get things done. And I don't want to sound like Larry the Cable Guy, but I do get her done. So far, as I say, I have, gotten all the boards, empty spots, filled with new, fresh people, with new ideas. By the time I'm finished, I want people to be pleased that I've made a difference in their lives and in their town.
Mr. Hood, what's your legacy project when you're finished serving the community?
I'm not sure of a particular project. I have lots of ideas, what my wife calls the fill facts. But what I want to be remembered as, well, I heard it's cheaper to not be remembered, but I believe it's important that when I leave public office, that people believe that I was a public servant, that I listened to their ideas and tried to get what they want done in the community and better the community for the long-term benefit, because I want my 4 children to stay here and live here and grow up, and I would like to keep my grandchildren here as well. So a long-lasting public servant. Thank you.
Mr. Daggett.
I hope my legacy to be careful, thoughtful decision-making with 2 ears that act like 4, that I listen twice as much as I talk, and that we also, when I'm done, have a stronger police department, stronger fire department, stronger street department. They have the resources they need to effectively take care of themselves and to get their jobs done, and that I can leave Winona Lake moving forward in a better place than when I started.
On to Ward number 2, and we'll begin with Mr. Bowl. Mr. Bowl, what is your legacy project?
The most deepest desire in my heart would be that no one remembers that John Bowl served the people of Winona Lake, but that when John Bowl stands before his Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, he looks me in the eye and says, "Well done."
Mr. Howard.
I would like everyone to know that I was very transparent in everything that was done in this form of government here, that people could come in and talk with us, we would listen and hear what they had to say and mull everything over that they had to say and take it to heart to make the right decisions, and that we left Winona Lake a better place to live, to work, and to play.
Mr. Nelson, your legacy project, what you want to be known for when you retire from public service.
Mine is bricks and mortar, to get rid of that ugly factory over there as you enter or leave Winona Lake, where we just had a mutt bust of 2 people, and that's in my backyard. That's too close to my neighborhood to have that kind of activity going on. And I guess my legacy would be to work with Warsaw and to work with whoever we need to do it to finally get rid of that terrible, terrible mess and get rid of the criminal activities that are capable of going on there. So I guess mine is the hard one. If you remember me for doing something on that piece of property, I would be eternally grateful.
Mr. Schaffner.
I would have to say first, I'm thinking about the employees that work for the town of Winona Lake. And I think first and foremost to have them feel like they have some empowerment, that they're able to work within the guidelines, that they have been somewhat maybe micromanaged. And I think that we can give them that empowerment and let them be the big contributing factor for this community, because they are the hands of Winona Lake. And then for the rest of you, I would like to think that when I left, there was integrity behind it, and that we were able to take Winona Lake and move it into the next phase of what Winona Lake is to be for the future. Thank you.